My name's McDonald. I'm a dentist here in Aberdeen, Scotland, and in 2018 I thought I had found the love of my life. Her name was Cynthia, a chartered accountant, and for a while she really was my everything. But love doesn't always survive reality, and mine broke apart in the most painful way I could ever imagine. It was 2018, a chilly October evening, typical Aberdeen. Gray skies, that damp chill that gets into your bones, and a wind off the North Sea that sounds like it's sighing through the whole city. A mutual friend, Fraser, who works in it and has this uncanny ability to drag introverts out of their shells, invited me to a dinner gathering at his flat near Rubislaw. I almost didn't go. I had an early clinic the next morning, and honestly, I'd been in one of those ruts where you forget what it feels like to talk to someone who doesn't have their mouth full of cotton rolls or flinch when you say drill. But something, maybe boredom, maybe fate, maybe just the fact that my mom had been on my case about rotting away with nothing but your dental mirror for company, nudged me to show up. That's where I first saw Cynthia. She was standing by the kitchen counter, laughing at something Fraser said. Not a polite laugh. A real one, warm, a little raspy, the kind that makes everyone else in the room smile without even knowing why. I was instantly nervous, clumsy, spilled red wine on my trousers within 10 minutes. Classic me. I cracked this terrible joke, something like, "Don't worry, I'm a dentist, not a tax auditor," though honestly most people find me scarier than both. And instead of rolling her eyes like most people do when I try to be funny, she laughed. Not just a chuckle, an actual belly laugh, head tilted back, eyes crinkling at the corners. That was it. I was gone. We ended up talking for most of the evening. I learned she was a chartered accountant, ambitious, sharp, but also grounded. She teased me about being too serious. I teased her about being numbers obsessed. There was this ease between us, like we'd known each other for years. When it was time to leave, she walked out with me to the street, and as we stood by her little blue Fiesta, she just handed me her phone. "Put your number in," she said, "and don't overthink it." I stared at that screen like it was a winning lottery ticket. Got home, sat on my sofa for 2 full days agonizing over the first text. Rewrote it at least 10 times. "Hey, it was great meeting you, felt too stiff. Still thinking about that wine stain, felt too weird. Finally I just went with, hope your spreadsheets are still singing. McDonald the dentist, not the burger place." She replied in under a minute. "They're doing La Boheme. Also your joke wasn't terrible. Coffee sometime." And just like that we were off. The conversation flowed like we'd known each other forever. Texts turned into calls, calls turned into plans. Our first proper date was at Aberdeen Beach. It was windy as it always is, the North Sea crashing against the shore, seagulls squawking like they owned the place. We walked for hours, sharing chips out of a greasy paper bag from that little shack near the pier, fingers brushing every time we reached in. I remember the wind kept blowing her dark curls across her eyes, and without thinking, I brushed it back. She smiled up at me like it was the most natural thing in the world, and it was. It all felt easy. After that we became inseparable. Coffee dates at Books and Beans, near Union Street, late-night phone calls where we talk about nothing and everything, until one of us drifted off. Weekend drives through the Highlands, windows down, music too loud, singing terribly off-key just to make each other laugh. We went to Edinburgh for a weekend, stayed in this tiny B&B near the grass market, got lost wandering down cobbled closes, spent hours in second-hand bookstores holding hands like teenagers. She'd read passages aloud in dramatic voices. I'd pretend to be scandalized by her taste in 19th century novels. Then came Paris. That trip is carved into my heart like a scar I keep touching. We got lost in Montmartre, ended up sitting on a random bench eating pain zest chocolate, and laughing until our stomachs hurt. At the scene as the sun dipped low and painted everything gold, she rested her head on my shoulder and whispered, "I could stay like this forever." I believed her. God, I believed her. She introduced me to her closest friends, a lively, sharp-tongued bunch who grilled me at first. "So you drill holes in people's teeth for a living." Romantic, but soon warmed up when they saw how happy she was. I introduced her to mine, and my mom especially adored her. She pulled me aside after dinner one night and said, "Son, you'd be a fool to let this one go." Meeting Cynthia's parents was harder. Her mother, Elspeth, welcomed me with hugs, scones, and endless cups of tea in their tidy bungalow in Cults. But her father, Robert, stern, quiet, his handshake was firm, his eyes unreadable. Over dinner he asked blunt questions. "How's the practice doing? Do you own your flat? What's your retirement plan?" I answered as best I could, but I felt like I was being interviewed for a job I wasn't sure I'd get. Still, Cynthia squeezed my hand under the table, gave me this soft smile like everything was fine. I convinced myself he just needed time. By 2020 I knew she was the one. On a windy spring evening, Aberdeen doing its usual moody thing, I took her to Union Terrace Gardens. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the ring. When I finally knelt down, her eyes widened and she burst into tears before I could even finish the sentence. "Yes," she sobbed. "Yes, you idiot. Yes." The wedding was small but magical. Bagpipes played as we walked out of the church near Crass Castle. Friends and family danced in the drizzle like it didn't matter. And when I saw her in her dress walking down the aisle, simple, elegant, glowing, I swear I forgot to breathe. I promised myself I'd spend my life making her happy, and for a while I thought I was doing exactly that. After the wedding we started talking about children. At first it was exciting, picking names, definitely not McDonald Jr., joking about whether they'd inherit her maths brain or my fear of seagulls. We'd lie in bed at night imagining nursery colors, school runs, holidays with a tiny version of us running ahead on the beach. But months went by, then a year, nothing. We went to the doctor, did the tests, and that's when my world cracked. The consultant, a kind woman with tired eyes, sat us down and said it gently, but it still hit like a sledgehammer. "McDonald, I'm sorry, but you're infertile." The room spun. I couldn't look at Cynthia, just stared at my hands. These hands that fixed people's teeth, that held hers in Paris, that I thought would one day hold our child, and felt like they were useless. Cynthia was silent, just held my hand, didn't say much. I tried to be strong, said we'd figure it out. Adoption, OWDF with donor sperm, fostering, anything. She nodded, said it didn't change how she felt about me. For a while I believed her, but things shifted. Subtly at first, her relatives began dropping comments, little jabs that cut deep. Her aunt once said at Christmas dinner, "A woman's purpose is to be a mother, Cynthia. Don't waste your best years." I wanted to disappear. Her friends posted pregnancy announcements, tagged her with next. Her eyes would dim every time, but it was her father who hammered the final nails. He made no secret of his disapproval. One evening after a family meal he pulled me aside in the driveway and said, calm as anything, "A man who can't give my daughter children is no man at all." Cynthia started to withdraw. Less affection, fewer good mornings, more excuses to stay late at work. Dinner became silent. I tried everything, planned surprise dates, bought her peonies, her favorite, wrote her letters, suggested counseling. She'd nod politely, say "That's sweet, Mac," but her eyes were miles away. Then one night she stood in the kitchen, tears streaming down her face. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. "I love you, I do, but I feel torn between you and my family, between what I want and what everyone expects. I can't breathe." I begged her, reminded her of Paris, of Union Terrace, of the nights we swore nothing could break us. She just shook her head. "I love you, but it's not enough anymore." The next week she packed her bags. Watching her walk out of our flat, Buster whining at the door, her suitcase rolling over the threshold, felt like watching my heart being ripped from my chest. Desperate, I went to her parents' house in Cults, knocked on the door like a fool. Her mother cried softly, said she was sorry, offered me tea like that would fix anything. But her father, he stood in the doorway, arms crossed, and looked me dead in the eyes. "You were never worthy of her," he said, calm, final, like a judge passing sentence. I'll never forget the way those words landed. Not angry, not loud, just certain, like it had always been true, and I was just too blind to see it. Now I walk these Aberdeen streets alone. Union Terrace Gardens, where I proposed, feels like a graveyard. The beach where we laughed now feels cold and empty. Every corner of this city whispers her name. I still love her. I probably always will. Some nights I sit in our old flat, E-flat now, and stare at the photo of us in Paris, her head on my shoulder, both of us smiling like we'd already won at life. Buster curls up beside me, sighs like he misses her too. I've gone back to work, patients come and go. I fix their teeth, listen to their problems, pretend I'm fine, but inside I'm just hollow. I used to think love was enough, that if two people truly cared for each other, they could survive anything. But I was wrong. Love doesn't stop biology. It doesn't silence family. It doesn't erase shame. And maybe that's the cruelest lesson of all. Sometimes you can give someone your whole heart, and it still won't be enough to keep them. I don't know if I'll ever stop loving her, but I'm starting to accept that maybe I have to stop waiting for her to come back, because she's not coming back, and I have to learn how to live in a world where the person who made everything make sense is gone.